And we are live with another one for all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there. And welcome to another rendition of the Takedown Troupe Review, your weekly TNA Wrestling Review show here at the BC WrestlePod. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, also known as El Jefe, and joining me tonight is one of my co-hosts, the man with the plan, one of my new favorite peoples on this planet, Mr. A to Z himself, Andrew. Super happy to have you here, bud. I didn't want to do this go home show by myself.
Oh yeah, it's TNA at least gives me something to look forward to when it comes to wrestling on Thursday nights slash Friday reviews.
It is. And this one's going to be very special because not only are we covering the July 18th, 2024 episode, but we are also going to be doing something special because we have to make our Slammiversary predictions because Slammiversary for TNA is tomorrow evening. I am super stoked. I cannot wait. It has been a journey to get from Rebellion to here to the next tentpole pay-per-view for TNA, and I'm super excited to get to watch it with my TNA boys. Unfortunately, we are missing one of our hosts, Will Papa Oso himself. Could not be here this evening. He's very, very lucky, and him and the hubby are out on date night. So, wishing them the best, and I hope they're having fun. But I will be reading Papa Oso's picks because he did send those in for Slammiversary. So, this is going to be a good one. All right, Andrew. So let's just jump right into it. We got a lot to cover. This was an interesting go home show because I feel like for me personally, there was some stuff that I thought worked, but then I also felt that things we could have taken out. And when we get to the contract signing, spoiler alert, I have a little bit of query when it came to that of how long it was. I'm gonna be honest. By the time I got to the end of the episode, I was like, okay, contract signing. 20 minutes of the show left. I'm like, excuse me? Why are there 20 minutes left on my television screen? But we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, Andrew, let's do this because we kick off this episode of TNA with a very fun six-man tag team match. We have the Rascals and Kushida? Question mark. taking on NXT's No Quarter Catch Crew. So Charlie Dempsey, Miles Bourne, and Tavion Heights. I wish this didn't open up because I felt like this was a really fun match, but you know what? It makes sense for it to open the show. This was a really fun back and forth. I did not know that I wanted the Rascals and Kushida together until I saw them together. I was very impressed of how well they actually, worked well together. But unfortunately, No Quarter Catch Crew actually pick up a win in TNA, which is not a lot, which is kind of crazy to say because they'll always be losing in NXT. So, Andrew, how did you feel about our opening match?
Yeah, I was kind of in the same position. I was surprised Kushida was the one that they went with. I had either missed or just overlooked his time in WWE / NXT. So having those reminders that he actually did have some history there kind of made sense for what Santino said in the setup to this match. Styles wise, it actually made a lot of sense, especially when you saw them in there. I thought this match had some really great action, especially when you saw the difference between the two teams. It really gave us a chance to see the highlights of these teams. And Kushida was a good stand-in for what we were hoping / expecting to get eventually. Because he did quite a few moves where it was either double team moves or triple team moves with the Rascals, some of their signature stuff. And then we also got to see No Quarter Catch Crew. And this was my first time seeing Tavion Heights as a member of the group because the last time I watched them, the group looked a little different. So got to see them play up their size and their actual wrestling styles. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I did like the fact that Kushida didn't get turned on by the Rascals. We didn't see the match lost because of that. They were the heels or anything, because they're kind of playing into being the TNA heroes in this feud. and instead he was kind of just taken out of the match by his current feud. So it was kind of like, all right, that was fun for a moment. Now we're all going to go on our separate ways, leading into Slammiversary. Um, while it was fun, it definitely felt like a builder match of a like, okay, we want to have this match just to whet your appetite because you're going to get the actual main course for this feud later on. And I'm not upset about that since it is a go home show, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun with most of the matches in the evening, and this was, even though I was surprised it started, it was a good way to start.
No, and we didn't have to wait long to see where this builder match was going to end up because, like that 70s show, we get the old school Rascals like circle talk moment from that 70s shows. We have, of course, the Rascals in TNA, which is Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. I was really happy though that they broke the fourth wall too, because they also have from NXT Wesley. For anybody who knows, Wes is a member of the Rascals when they all were in TNA together. And they're just like, I love the fourth wall break. It's like, yo, when did Wentz get here? I was like, no, it's Wes, not that. I was like,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous, but this was funny as all heck to watch this. But this sets up that at Slammiversary, we're getting the Rascals. So Wentz, Trey, and Wesley of NXT taking on No Quarter Catch Crew. I did not know I wanted this match until we got the little card for it. And then, of course, they ended it in only way how you hear, like, you hear the lighter, and it's like, yo, is this thing still on?
This promo was a lot of fun, especially because I didn't get to see a lot of the Rascal stuff previously, and they're doing a really good job of making having the Rascals win us over, since they had spent so much time recently in TNA/Impact being more of the hated team of the tag team division. This is very much that invasion feel, and they're the home team. And this was really, I love that they did this. It followed the match. They did this little promo, and that's all we needed to set this match up. It was a great little feature, and it was well done by them and entertaining and just fit that style, and it fits to that like really good quality of choices that TNA makes with most of their promos.
Absolutely. So, and we're going to go over the whole entirety of Slammiversary because by the end of this episode, they just dropped everything. They're like, here you go. And you know what? When we get to the end, we're going to talk about it because I'm like, TNA reserved a lot was going to be on the Slammiversary card until the end of the show. But I was not frustrated with the lack of the card until tonight because there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. I'm looking at you, ROH. We're going to bring you back in one more time for lashing. But we're going to move on from this promo because they wasted no time because we get another match. This time we have one half of our Knockouts Tag Team Champions. We have Alicia Edwards taking on Zaya Brookside in this match. I thought this was a fun little match. Alicia is, of course, being the heel in this situation, and she's very good at doing so. Masha being in her corner as like the brute force made this more of a 2-on-1 situation for Zaya. However, Zaya had some backup in the form of Spitfire, so Danny Luna and Jody Threat, which allowed Zaya to pin one half of the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, which makes sense because Alicia has been kind of, going after Zaya in some capacity and just, getting in her business too. So Spitfire was able to back up Zaya, and Zaya gets a huge win over Alicia. Andrew, how did you feel about this match? And what did you think of Spitfire being the equalizer in this match for Zaya?
I thought it was a good match. I liked that, and it's a credit, I think, a lot to the people involved. I think Alicia had some really solid moments. I think she does her best when she's playing up the dirty heel tactics. And Zaya looked really good out there. I think all in all, it was a good build to the Knockouts Tag Team title match that we're going to have, continuing on that feud. It made sense, if Spitfire's backstage, seeing the antics of the militia outside. You know, Danny Luna's also a UK wrestler. You know, Zaya Brookside's a UK wrestler. You know, so they have these connections. They're probably friends backstage. So you see this going on, and it's already people that you're feuding with. It makes total sense that you're going to come out and try to be that equalizer, and beat them at their own game. And I actually don't mind that it cost Alicia the the victory, because we also saw something after the match where Alicia started to get mad at Masha. And I feel like those might be signs as to like some, dissension amongst the militia, and might be a sign of what we're going to see at Slammiversary, even if it doesn't cost them the match. If they do lose, I can see it leading to the disbandment of their team. But all in all, I thought it was a good, fun match. I think it was great because we saw Militia and Spitfire out there. Got us excited to see them. And they talked about Zaya's match. It's also going to be at Slammiversary, that Fatal 4-Way. And so it would just build up everybody that was there, continue to get me excited for the matches that we're going to see at Slammiversary. And I do want to shout out to Masha Slamovich, because she is like everywhere. Just 2 weekends ago, she won the IWS World Women's World title, and last night she defended the JCW World title, and now tomorrow night she's going to be defending the TNA Knockouts World title. She is crushing it this year. She's definitely one of the people that I think is just, she's taking off this year. Not that she hasn't been big, but I'm super excited for what we're going to get to see from her, whether it's the return of MK Ultra or getting to see a Masha singles run. So yeah, I'm really excited about what we're getting across the board.
Me too. I'm super happy that Zaya picked up a win here, but I'm also excited to see what the future holds for Masha in particular. And I mean, it's not looking too good for Militia because, given everything that's been transpiring the last couple of weeks on TNA, I don't know if they're going to walk out with the titles. And even though, despite certain things happening on tonight's show, I still question how many members of the system will be walking out of Slammiversary with those titles. It's going to be tough. And I like that they built it up where it's 50-50 for a bunch of these. So, but we're going to move on with this. We get a kick promo from Mike Santana. All it really is to say is that he's going to murder JDC later tonight. And I'm like, Mike Santana, I believe you.
Yeah.
So that was great. So, okay, I'm going to get some hate for this, but next we have Speedball Mike Bailey come in, cut a quick promo. He's upset that Ali and his Secret Service took out Trent Seven the week before. And so now he wants to fight Ali, but this turns into an impromptu gauntlet match because, in order to get to Ali, Speedball is going to have to defeat all the Secret Servicemen, which I thought was hilarious to think about. Shout out to the Secret Service members for taking those bumps from Speedball Mike Bailey. I was like, you sold those beautifully. It was fantastic. Once we got through the Secret Service, I was like, okay, Ollie's going to do something great. Then we got Campaign Singh coming out, cuts a promo, gets in the ring, and fights Bailey for a little bit, which then prompts Ali to come out. But unfortunately, Ali is not, playing fair. And poor Speedball Mike Bailey ends up getting destroyed. And then we get pinned. And he does get pinned in this whole entire thing too. So I thought at first this was a fun idea. I like that he had to fight the Secret Service. But I feel that about halfway through this gauntlet with just the Secret Service agent, it started to get bloated for me because we continued fighting Secret Service after Secret Service. And then it was made worse when it got bloated with Campaign Singh, which then allowed Ali to come out. Poor Speedball Mike Bailey. He deserves better. But also, just as a sidebar too, the way that Ali presented this whole segment in the riot gear and then the nightstick, I was like, it's hitting too close for home because of recent events. I know this was pre-tape, but this is very scary of how close it is to real events that are currently going on in the world. But I like but ultimately, Andrew, I like the idea that we got, but I felt that this went on for a little too long and kind of got bloated by the middle of this because I know we're trying to give something. I know we're trying to give Speedball something to do in order to build up to this, but I feel that we built up everything pretty well, given the fact that Trent Seven got taken out last week.
Yeah.
And we got a quick glimpse of Speedball attacking Ali in the parking lot by trying to pull him out the window. I feel that if we just show that, I feel that that would have been perfect leading into Slammiversary instead of having Speedball fight everybody and anybody, ultimately for him to get beat up. But Andrew, how did you feel about this whole entire sequence with the Secret Service gauntlet match and ultimately Ali hitting Speedball with the nightstick for the win?
I mean, it was a fun and entertaining enough idea, but I don't think we needed it. I thought the image that we had last week was so much more powerful. It was, if you wanted to have, to be fair, if you wanted to have something more, I would have put last week in this spot, but I don't think it needed to be. We still got it. It got me super excited for it. It had me have this feeling like Mike Bailey is going to be out for vengeance. I think, like you said, we could have easily just seen him try to attack him in his like cavalcade kind of moment. If they wanted to have Mike Bailey come out and cut some promo about wanting to fight Ali now, they could have easily just had Ali come up and be like, "Yo, I'm not even in the building. Like, we're taking precautions. You attacked me. Like, I'm the champion." Like, what would happen if, something like someone who's the champion got attacked by the challenger? Like, they're not going to just like show up there, especially the type of champion that Ali is, where he's trying to avoid this action. So instead of adding this bit to the storyline, I think we could have done without it. We could have either just had that package that we saw or have a promo or something. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but we didn't need it, and it went a little longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, and I know that we need to build Speedball up to be the face in this whole entire situation that's going on with him and Ali. But I agree with you. I feel that having what we saw last week with the Trent Seven being beat up in front of the Speedball, I think would be a good. And then just playing the full entirety of the social media clip of Speedball Mike Bailey trying to pull Ali through the car window and just go from there, which, would be great. But this leads into a backstage promo from Ali, who states that the match at Slammiversary is taken off the ballot because he defeated Speedball Mike Bailey, and therefore there's no reason. And, we always say that we love Santino just because of his ridiculous antics and just how funny he is as, our comic relief, like, authority figure. But I also forgot how much I enjoy a more serious Santino, too, because he was mad at Ali. And he's the only authority figure across any promotion that I see that is not afraid to challenge and step into the faces of talent after they've done something like horrible. But Santino gets in Ali's face and tells him that the match at Slammiversary is still happening. He reamed him for what he did. He also said he's stupid, which was funny. But Santino just lays down the law, and Ali has no choice but to accept it. So we're still getting Ali versus Speedball at Slammiversary, which honestly is one of my most anticipated matches of the whole card. And because of the nightstick, I'm wondering if that comes into play during the match. We'll have to wait till tomorrow to see. But we move on from this. So when I heard that we were getting our World Tag Team Championship match here at this part of the show, again, I looked down at how much time we have left. I was like, I get this, but if this is for a championship, wouldn't this normally go into the main event slot?
Yeah.
And then when the match ended and everything that transpired afterwards, I was like, okay, whoever booked this show needs to be fired, because the next two matches that we got, this was all over the place, Andrew. Yeah. Like, I don't know what happened. And it started okay. So we have a TNA World Tag Team Championship match. The System, which is Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, defending the title against the Hardy Boys, so Jeff and Matt. And this was actually going a pretty lengthy time because we went through like what 2 commercial breaks at this point for this match. And so I'm like, okay, what's about to go down? And then of course shenanigans happens because JDC gets involved. DQ happens. Like the Hardys technically win, but they don't get the championships because DQ by shenanigans. Jeff Hardy gets his neck broken because it gets placed in a chair and thrown against things. And so I was fine with all of it. I was like, okay, it makes sense. JDC is trying to stay in the good graces of the system, so he's going to be taking out anybody that's trying to take the gold from them. Then all of a sudden, Mike Santana's music hits. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot these two were fighting. Wait, no cut to commercial, and then Mike comes in, but no, just immediately amidst all the chaos that is happening, Jeff Hardy is still on the floor. Like Matt Hardy is nowhere to be seen. So Mike Santana gets in the ring. The vest doesn't even come off long enough for the bell to ring, and then Mike Santana just goes to town and destroys JDC by punching him in the face and just ultimately decimating. So at this point, Andrew, I was like, okay, fine. So before we get into the cluster F, that was what happens next with all the backstage stuff. What were your thoughts about the actual tag team championship match?
I mean, I was surprised, the Hardys are clearly not in their prime anymore. They're still some of the, they're still one of the greatest tag teams probably ever in professional wrestling. They kind of set the groundwork for, I want to say, modern professional wrestling, along with some other, notable tag teams. So they're tag team experts. And so to see them wrestling with other veterans like the System, they had a really solid tag match. It was fun. They kind of played the greatest hits. Obviously, they played to their strengths. I think the System does a really good job of using heel tactics to help with some of the areas that their opponents might struggle in, whether it's due to lack of experience or because of too much experience on their bodies. But all in all, I liked it. I didn't mind the interference of JDC in this because I think it continues to make the System look dangerous and threatening to everybody. And it makes sense now that he's there. It doesn't make him seem like a useless addition to the team because he's been helping them and like adding into that. I think what happened afterwards, I think there were some wrong choices that happened that just have me kind of questioning some of the matches that we're getting for Slammiversary, because I think had this been handled differently, this into the following match and all that kind of stuff, I think we could have gotten some other matches that would have been more interesting to see at Slammiversary, but I'll wait till we get to the backstage shenanigans and the Santana JDC match.
Okay, so let's just get through this because this was a cluster F and I was confused. And also, I'm gonna be honest right now. So, let's just do it. Okay, so we cut back to where we were. Mike Santana is massacring JDC as the match officially begins. Then we come back from commercial. Match is happening. We get maybe 30 seconds of it. And then we immediately go backstage in a side-by-side with Jeff Hardy on the stretcher, going to the ambulance. Matt Hardy is distraught. And then all of a sudden the camera pans and we see Rebby on the floor. And I'm like, what now? And then Rebby tells Matt that JDC assaulted her, not attacked her, assaulted her. I know that's not where they went, Andrew, but I had to pause real quick when I heard that. I was like, please don't tell me they're going to do what I think they're going to do. TNA, you're better than this. Obviously, they didn't, but I don't like that choice of words. And regardless how I feel about that personally, what frustrated me is with all this going on, we were doing picture-in-picture with all of this, and then they cut the match entirely to show us Jeff Hardy getting into the ambulance. And then as soon as the ambulance leaves, then we go back to the match. Whoever put this together needs to be fired immediately because this was pacing issues. It was confusing. So then once all the backstage shenanigans happens, then we get back to the match itself. I was expecting Matt Hardy to come back out and just, attack JDC for what happened. It's like, okay, cool. like, we got beef, we're gonna get a match. Matt Hardy does not return whatsoever. JDC and Mike Santana keep fighting, and this match only ends because Santana has had enough of JDC and decimates him with the steel chair. And at this point, as soon as JDC was announced the winner, I was like, JDC, you may have won the battle, but Mike Santana won this war because you are on the floor bleeding profusely.
Yeah, I mean, what we got to see of the Santana JDC match, I really enjoyed. It was a brutal match. It's funny because JDC still wears his like Dango-esque tights, but he's now this like enforcer cleaner for the system, and he does a really good job at it. But it's like such a juxtaposition between what he looks like and what he's doing. But the two of them going at each other, I thought, they did a good job. It was fun. Honestly, I think they could have put this match in the main event. The System versus the Hardys. They could have put the tag match in the main event. The contract signing that we get later could have happened. I mean, hell, it could have still happened after the main event. But this Mike Santana JDC match, if we have it like this, I think what we do, and this is only because I know what's coming up for Slammiversary, is I don't think Matt Hardy needs to be involved in any of this. I think you either don't have the Santana JDC match, or because it got thrown out by disqualification, you continue this matchup at Slammiversary in some kind of street fight, no rules, no disqualification style match. And you have JDC and Santana go at it against each other. And then if you want, all the stuff with the Hardys could still have happened. And Matt Hardy could show up in the no disqualification street fight thing to be involved in some kind of shenanigans types thing or whatever the case may be. But I'd be much more interested in the Santana JDC stuff, especially after the match that we just saw with the two of them. It's more intriguing to me. It does more for Mike Santana. Don't get me wrong. I think the match he's gonna have at Slammiversary looks like a lot of fun, but it kind of feels we saw one blip of this a week or two ago. And I feel like there's more meat and history here with him and JDC, especially after the promo he cut. So, I think what we got was good and fun. I enjoyed it. But some of it felt a little heavy-handed and clunky and forced. And I think we could have gotten some better options, but still happy with what we're going to get.
I am too. Like I said, JDC won the battle, but Mike Santana won the war. And we'll talk about how some of these matches for Slammiversary came to be, because I understand, but I'm like, I have questions.
Yeah.
So we move on from this, and we get this interview next with Jordynne Grace, which basically, for anybody who hasn't tuned into TNA, this interview recaps Jordynne Grace's 2024 so far. And I love that they bring up Trinity, and I'm just like, yes, never forget, even though she's not with us in the company no more. That was an important point, because they fought twice for that title, and Jordynne beat Trinity at Hard to Kill to become the champion for TNA. And then also they talked a lot about the NXT stuff and what Jordynne's role in all that and how much she enjoyed it. I don't want WWE and NXT to take Jordynne when her contract's up, but you know what? I'm not going to be the person to stop somebody from wanting to, be on a bigger scale and a bigger platform. I want good things for everybody. I really like this interview. Don't get me wrong. But of every single match that we're getting for Slammiversary, this one has been the most hit and miss for me because of how sporadic Ash and Jordynne have been in the actual face-to-face portion of this feud. Now, granted, Jordynne did a good job in this interview, talking about how Ash has pretty much been watching all of Jordynne's matches the last 6 months since showing up to TNA, which was fantastic. The problem is that you want to try to have some sort of face-to-face confrontation, or at least some semblance of them being in the same room together. I feel like we've been playing cat and mouse and two ships passing in the night for the majority of this build. I'm still excited for this match, and I really enjoyed the interview, but it's been really difficult for me to like not get into it. That's not the way I want to say it, but the fact that they aren't in the same room together and didn't like have some sort of, you know, face to face or whatever, I was just like, this kind of sucks. I think the match is going to be fun, but this whole entire feud has been playing cat and mouse because neither one of them has been in the same room with the other. It's like one's missing or they're both doing separate things. It's like they're keeping them apart. Let them come together at least once.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get any of the traditional, like, they're teaming up with other people to face each other in a tag match or any of that kind of stuff where, like, we get to see some glimpses of it, and maybe they're trying to hold that off. But it does kind of feel like every week that we've had Jordan at TNA, we haven't had Ash. And every week that we've had Ash, we haven't had Jordan. And, you know, with the way they record things and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that Jordan has been doing so much NXT stuff, and Ash has even shown up over there, who knows what the schedules are looking like, and this may be the best of the situation that they can do. I do feel like Jordan Grace and Scott, to be fair, are... I feel like Jordan is one of the main reasons why we have this NXT TNA crossover. I feel like she was someone they were really interested in. They opened the door for her, and they saw how much fans liked it, and they saw the potential for what could be done. And begrudgingly, I still really appreciate all the people who were in NXT, so I'm happy for them too. But I think this has been a really good crossover for both brands. I was nervous in the beginning, and considering how many other companies are doing crossover things right now, I think TNA and NXT are probably handling it some of the best ways possible. And there was something that Jordan Grace brought up about the fact that she was really hoping to make history as being the first person to hold a TNA title and an NXT title at the same time, which, as we know, Jordan Grace is many firsts and, you know, record-breaking things in TNA, and for her to be able to do that, I would love if they actually give her that chance, because she brought up the fact, she was like, hey, she cost me this last time, but it doesn't mean I can't. Like, I still can't. It just means I didn't that time. And as sad as I would be to see Jordan Grace leave TNA, she's been here. She's done. If she leaves TNA now, she will go down as she'll probably be the top modern TNA star, at least knockout star, you know, if not one of the just top TNA stars in history. So if she leaves, she goes to NXT. I would be totally down if her contract with TNA expires, she gets a contract with NXT, but they work out something to where it's like, hey, you're already crossing over anyway. So in the process of that transition, you keep that TNA title, you sign over to NXT, you win the NXT title, and then, like, she drops the TNA title either by a loss or just, like, saying, like, I can't defend them both, or whatever the case may be. I would love for her to be able to be the first person to actually do that and hold both those titles, especially if it meant we were losing her from TNA to NXT, if we still got that going on. And she's one of those people that I just, you know, there's a lot of people in TNA that I just really hope they get everything that they want and that they deserve and they can get out of this industry, because they work so hard and have done so much in a place that is often tried to be overlooked, that they don't let people overlook them.
Well said, Andrew, and I 100% agree with you. I would love for Jordan to kind of be the catalyst in all this, because of how sought after she is by WWE and NXT too. And I honestly, let the record state that I love being proven right when I told Andrew that this crossover would be great. I'm just kidding. No, I agree with you, Andrew. I was a little worried too, because we have seen how WWE in the past have treated other companies. And lest we forget too, and I love that Moose kind of called it out in his most recent interviews, that this NXT TNA crossover is working out better for everybody than the AEW and TNA crossover was. Because lest we forget, Kenny Omega took pretty much all of TNA's championships, and they didn't really do much in terms of Kenny Omega and TNA. poor Rich Swann, man. He had to lose that title to Kenny like that. I was like, how dare you?
Interesting enough, we're seeing a similar thing with the AEW Ring of Honor crossover. It seems a little one-sided there too. Maybe that's a sign of something.
We're not bitter. I'm just kidding. Tony Khan, seriously, just talk to us. Like we got ideas for ROH. I promise. Give us 2 weeks. Let us run ROH for 2 weeks, please. Road trip. Anyways, so at this point, we also then get to see Rosemary being creepy around Ash by Elegance's like Chevalier assistant, whatever we want to call him. At this point, he has like 4,000 different titles. I really love the imagery of him on the phone and like it just drowning him out with Rosemary kind of being like the invisible demon that is haunting his dreams, which I really, really love. So I'm like, Rosemary, are you going to show up at Slammiversary? Because I'm kind of here for it if you are. Now, I would love for this to be the fact I would love to see Ash win and then let Rosemary be her first feud because I think I want Rosemary to finally get the spotlight again as a single star because I feel like Rosemary has done pretty much everything she did with the Death Dolls, and until Havoc comes back, who knows if Havoc, like, I don't know, I couldn't find anything if Havoc is injured or not, but let's have Rosemary have a fun singles feud for a little bit. So Andrew, at this point of the show, I was looking at the time remaining. I was like, oh, okay, we probably got 10 minutes. Why is it? I looked at it, I was like, why is there 20 minutes left on TNA Plus? Like, what is happening? Surely you cannot drag a contract signing now for 20 minutes.
If they can make a contract signing with 2 people and the contract signing go for 10 to 12 minutes, it doesn't surprise me that they stretch out a contract signing with 6 people for that long.
So I was like, okay, so you got 6 people. Everybody's going to like say something really quick, sign the contract, and then they're going to fight. I was like, okay, cool. I got the fighting part right, but I was completely wrong of how the rest of this went. So we spent like 7 minutes of entrances because we get 5 out of the 6 participants, in there. Joe Hendry obviously getting the loudest pop for, all of this. I'm gonna reserve all my energy for when we talk about our predictions. But after tonight, I was like, I swear to God, TNA, if you don't let this man win, I will riot. Like, I will riot. You cannot do this to me. But we have Josh Alexander, Joe Hendry, Moose, Frankie Kazarian, and Steve Macklin in the ring with Santino, who's officiating this contract signing. And there is a 6 but empty chair at this table. Santino explains that this is for Nick Nemeth, but because of everything that has transpired, Nick is on a Zoom call now. So we cut to Nick on the Zoom call. I was like, sir, are you in a dorm room? Like, what is this? I was like, it looked like a college dorm room. I was like, where is this? Why is this? I'm kind of digging the vibes, though. I love that Nick Nemeth just like did one-liners for everyone. It's like, Frankie Kazarian, you're an asshole. I hate your guts. Joe Hendry, I popped really hard. It's like, Joe Hendry, damn, you got me believing that you can win. I'm like, same, Nick Nemeth, same. But we find out that Nick is cleared for Slammiversary, so he will be participating in the 6-man elimination match, which makes me happy to hear because I thought they were going to take him out. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I was worried about that too.
But thankfully, he is cleared, so he is good to go. He is going to be participating, so he has like digitally signed his name already. And then we go around the table and everyone just begins to sign. No promos, no nothing. I was like, no one-liners. Okay, I'm kind of here for this. And then as Joe Hendry is about to sign this, Moose is a total butthole and takes it from Joe and is like, no, you're not going to sign this. Mm-hmm. And Moose signs it. And as he gives it to Santino to give it to Joe, this is where my issue with this whole entire contract signing came to be, because who should interrupt this but First Class comes out. So Rich Homie Swann and AJ Francis come out. AJ Francis cuts this elongated promo about, him being champion and he is the best in TNA. I'm like, sir, have several seats. Calm down. But this went on for longer than it should have. And then PCO showed up, and then him and Swan and AJ Francis fight, which then prompts a fight with all of the participants in our main event, which we find out from Nick Nemeth that 6-man elimination match is the main event for Slammiversary. God, I'm excited. But a brawl breaks out. It's like heel on face action. Steve Macklin gets pulled out of the ring and starts fighting with somebody. Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander fight their respective heel opponents, which is very interesting in this case. Everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Everybody is laid out on the floor. Moose, Joe, and Josh are the only three in the ring. Moose tries to take out Josh and Joe. Joe with a beautiful standing ovation to Moose into the table. Josh Alexander yells at Joe Hendry to sign this contract. Joe Hendry finally signs the contract, gives it to Santino, and Josh and Joe, surprisingly, but not like they're foretelling me something here, are the final two standing in the ring with Santino as TNA goes off the air. A lot happened within these 20 minutes, Andrew. Like, this was nuts to me. So let's break it down piece by piece. We already kind of talked about it. We're both happy that Nick Nemeth has been cleared because we were getting worried about that. Was it necessary to have First Class, though, interrupt this contract signing?
Necessary? No. But I get why they did it, because it was really the only match, especially only title match, that didn't have any action in the night, and it's their go home show. And honestly, I actually kind of love how delusional AJ Francis is. I love that he's not right, but in his brain, I can see how he thinks he's not wrong. Coming out there and talking about how he should be the main event. He's the only doubles champion, talking about like, it's almost like he believes his hype so much that he forgot that he was trolling people. And so I didn't hate it. I didn't expect it at all, because it doesn't have any connection to this match. Although, he does have issues with Joe Hendry in the past. So I didn't expect it. I was kind of hoping that Santino was going to give him the Cobra when he got in Santino's face. I do think that we may have seen indicators as to what order people are going to get taken out of the main event. And it gives me an idea that I think either Joe Hendry is going to win, or I think Josh Alexander is turning heel and either costing him the win or beating him as the last two standing. But I think the best part, the thing that made me laugh the most out of this entire thing, was Santino insisting that no one was going to fight at the top of the contract signing. I was like,
Santino, okay, buddy. You said the magic words, and I was like, it's about to go down. It's about to be on and popping. All right, but Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander standing tall is how TNA ends this week. Let's quickly go into our empanada ratings. I'm giving this a solid 7 out of 10. I thought this was a pretty decent go-home show. I feel that the over-bloatedness about certain parts kind of took a couple points off, but again, the bar was set so low from ROH that anything TNA did at this point was always going to be better than it. I'm not bitter. Yes, I am. But I give this a solid 7 out of 10. The matches were fun. We actually built up to Slammiversary, and we had more than 3 matches announced for Slammiversary before they just dropped a Beyonce and just gave us the rest of the matches out of nowhere. So 7 out of 10 for me. Andrew, how did you feel about this week's TNA episode?
I get this an 8.25. It was definitely a go-home show. It didn't have as much excitement or depth as we had the last couple weeks. I feel like 2 weeks ago was probably their biggest show for getting me excited for Slammiversary. But with that said, I feel like while it hasn't, the 2 weeks ago I was like this for my excitement, and since then it's been kind of like this. So it's still been going up. So it never brought me down and it never plateaued, but it didn't skyrocket as much as it did the first real build-up week. I I'm still excited. I'm super excited for Slammiversary. I thought the end of the night, we knew what we're going to get from a contract signing. I think the fact that there were multiple people involved actually made it more fun for me than your traditional contract signing where someone's getting put through the table. Um, but all in all, it's this capped it off really well for heading into Slammiversary, and I'm so excited for this. TNA has done one of the best build-ups of pay-per-views that I can think of, especially in this year. And while other pay-per-views may have been good, I can't say that their lead-in has been as good as Slammiversary's build-up has been.
Absolutely. And we bring this up every time, but there was a period where we were worried when Scott D'Amore got released, now that we had Anthem take over TNA, but that one promo from Eric Young at No Surrender in February and everything that we've seen in TNA since then has made me truly believe us. Like, I might not like the big corporate Anthem when it comes to certain things, but I will say that they have been giving TNA the chance to do amazing things, and they've been TNA has been delivering on all sorts of fronts. Easily TNA is probably the easiest thing to watch every single week because I always have so much fun and I enjoy it, and I have very little to complain about with TNA.
Yeah.
All right, well, that concludes this week's TNA episode. Just kidding, because now let's do a change of scenery real quick.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy. So, as I mentioned at the top of this review, now that we officially gone through the Go Home show, me and Andrew are now going to make our predictions for tomorrow's Slammiversary. I cannot believe it's tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Andrew, we're finally here. This has been announced since Rebellion back in April. I'm so excited. I say that for every TNA pay-per-view, but especially the big four this year. Rebellion and Hard to Kill have been amazing, and nothing really has missed when some of the TNA pay-per-views, except for maybe Against All Odds. Against All Odds is not my favorite pay-per-view, but that's because production got fired that day. But me and Andrew are going to go through and make our predictions for all the matches that we have announced for Slammiversary. And I will also be pulling double duty as I will be reading Papa Oso's picks. So Will has sent in his picks for Slammiversary. And I'm super excited. So I would like to thank Twitter and TNA for giving me all the cards in one place that I need. AEW, I need you to do the same thing and get it together, because trying to put slideshows for your pay-per-views are always tough. I have to go to 5 different places on Twitter to get the good images. But let's start with the countdown show, and we have 3 matches slated to be here. So the first match in the countdown show is for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. We have what has been dubbed by Andrew as Militia. So Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards taking on Spitfire, which is Danny Luna and Jody Threat. Based on the story that we have been telling with Spitfire, I feel that this is where they get those titles back, because you cannot have this training montage with Carl Fredrickson and to build them back up after losing the tag team championships, only for them not to get them back here in Slammiversary. So with that is my reasoning as to why I'm picking Spitfire to become our new TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champs.
I have to say, I did not coin the name the Militia. I believe they actually started using it themselves. I just really love that name that they did that, and it's so subtle. So I gotta be open and honest about that. That was not me. I'd love to take credit for it. That's an awesome name, combination name. I'm not usually a big fan of that. That said, I think Spitfire has to win this. I think this is kind of. I think this is going to be the redo of their reign as Knockouts Tag Team Champions. I hope that they're going to reign for a little bit longer. They're going to get some good title defenses in there, give them the title so they can hold on to it and build up some more Knockouts tag teams. hell, let's bring in some women from NXT, form up some tag teams, have them go against Spitfire, even if it's just like the challenges that Jordan Grace has been getting. I believe, especially after the match that we get, I think we're going to see the ending of the Militia. I'm hoping that that also means that we're going to see the return of MK Ultra because they're awesome, and we need to see a rematch between MK Ultra and Spitfire because the way that Spitfire won those titles was not a good choice. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be the real reign of Spitfire, and I'm super excited for them. They deserve it. They're so entertaining and fun.
I am. And so me and Andrew have picked Spitfire, and to no surprise whatsoever, Will has also selected Spitfire as well. So we are a majority of this right here. All right. So now our second match on the on the countdown, not the pre-show, sorry. And this one kind of puzzled me a little bit because I feel like we have spent a lot of time starting and stopping this feud, but we are getting Kushida versus Jonathan Gresham here. I'm gonna be completely honest, because it hasn't been consistently on television for us. I've kind of forgotten how we got to this point a little bit, but these two are going at it once again. The through line being that Kushida is looking for the cure for Jonathan Gresham's black ink. I have selected Jonathan Gresham to win because if I remember correctly, Kushida has gotten one over on Jonathan after, being infected and also costing him his match against Sami Callihan. So I think Jonathan needs to get a lick back. So I am picking our Cthulhu monster, Jonathan Gresham, to beat Kushida in this match.
Yeah, me too. I'm picking Jonathan Gresham. I feel like the only way that Jonathan Gresham is losing this is if Kushida has found the cure and we're ditching this gimmick for Gresham. Since I hope that's not the case, and I feel like that's way too soon to do that, it just makes sense that Gresham has to win this. If he doesn't, it's just continuing to make a monster heel, not monstrous.
No, that's true. This is the first dissenting opinion because Will has picked Kushida to win here. And I'm going to be honest, and Will's going to get mad at me. I'm going to throw him under the bus for this. But because he doesn't understand where Jonathan Gresham is, and to be honest, Gresham's presentation has not been the best a little bit when it comes to certain things. I understand why he picked Kushida. I still think this is going to be a phenomenal match. I'm just hoping that Jonathan, I feel like, has more to lose if he doesn't win this match than Kushida does. I think that's my reasoning too. So regardless, I think it's still going to be a really fun match. But speaking of fun matches, what Andrew, initially you sent this to me and I melted in my chair when I saw who was participating in this, because not only do we have amazing TNA action, but I recognize one person on here more than anything, and I literally melted myself. But the final match on our countdown show is a 4-way knockouts match. We haven't been told that there's any stipulation to this. I would love this to be winner gets a future championship shot or something like that. But we have Miss Tasha Steelz taking on Giselle Shaw, Zaya Brookside, and from AAA herself, Miss Fabi Apache is in the building. I am losing my absolute mind. If you don't know who this woman is, y'all need to go do your research because she kicks major ass in Mexico and around the world. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Sorry, I just peeked the microphone, Andrew. I didn't mean to yell, but I'm so excited. I was like, yes, finally, we are getting some AAA representation in TNA since they signed their partnership with AAA. And I was wondering if we were going to see anything from it because that was a Scott thing. And since Scott wasn't here, but it seems that we're slowly including AAA talent in here. And the fact that Nick Nemeth is also their champion speaks volumes too. So that's there. Andrew, normally I was just like, normally I don't like women being thrown together just for the sake of the match. But in this case, I throw that out the window because these three are three TNA representatives. To me, I was like, yes, absolutely. Makes sense. And then to throw in Fabi into this, I was just like, okay, this might actually be the best match of the night. Don't care. Fight me on it. But as much as I love Fabi and I would love her to win, I feel that I'm picking Giselle because I feel like this is her match to win, given the fact that she is coming back. and she's a face, and we're slowly building her back up, and the audience is behind her. The fans are behind her. I would love to see Zaya win too, but I think this is a match that Giselle should win, and that is why I'm picking Giselle to win this four-way match.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Giselle Shaw's winning this. They've already been building her as another face for the Knockouts division. I think, unfortunately, because Zaya did just come off of a victory, don't get me wrong, but because Zaya and Tasha have been losing more frequently, another loss doesn't hurt them as much. There's bad blood between Tasha and Zaya. There's bad blood because of the recent victory that Giselle has over Tasha. And all of them are going to come in to fight and try and win this. I'm happy that we have another match that's for the knockouts that isn't a title match. Like, we get to have more knockouts present. I love that we're bringing in someone from AAA. So it got me excited to see this. I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, I would love to find out that whoever wins this gets a title shot of their choosing, or gets a Knockouts World title shot, or however they want to word it. Or if at least unofficially the person that wins this becomes a top contender because they're beating out 3 other women in the Knockouts division. So yeah, I kind of feel like this should feel like a big match for the 4 women involved.
Absolutely. So those are the 3 matches that are going to be in the countdown show, and I'm super excited. But now let's talk about the main card. So how we do the main card here at BC WrestlePod is we go in order from the most recent match announced to the oldest match announced. So the newer ones get covered first, and then the one that we found out first is going to be on the pay-per-view is going to be it. So TNA pulled a Beyonce and just dropped a bunch of matches all last night of what we're getting, but they all make sense. Take notes, Ring of Honor. I'm still bitter with you, but let's get into it. So let's first talk about the TNA World Tag Team Championships. The System will be defending their titles. So the System, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, will be defending their titles against the team that is invoking their rematch clause in ABC. So Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Okay. This is going to be a tough one for me because my heart, and I'm going to go with my heart on this one. I feel that ABC has got to win this one. I think all the work that they've done prior to, since losing their tag team championships, from them needing to fight each other to them winning and losing, on equal ground, always being around in the System's business. I am picking ABC because I think it's their time to become the 3-time TNA World Tag Team Champions of TNA. But this is also a match where it can go either way, and I could see the System retaining their championships. But I gotta go with ABC. I think we start seeing the downfall, and System start losing gold. If not everybody is losing it, but yeah, ABC has more to lose if they don't win. So I'm picking ABC for this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think ABC is in a very similar situation as Spitfire. I think we've seen the kind of rebuild of them as a team, and it feels like they've been doing that in order to get them back to the titles. And like I said, I'm a firm believer that if we're going to see the System lose a title, we're going to see the System lose all the titles. And since I've already picked Spitfire to beat the Militia, I've got to go with ABC to beat the System.
I would be kind of surprised to see the System retain, but I still think this is going to be a phenomenal match, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. So next match that we're going to talk about, this one, okay, I could see where we got to this because this transpired 2 weeks. Though, let's be honest, the story of how we're getting this match is kind of thin, but do I care? No, because these two are going to murder each other, and I'm here for violence. We have Mike Santana versus Jake something in this match. Oh, I should also point out, too, because I forgot to read this out loud, but Will has also picked ABC, so we're all unanimous on that one. this is where we differ. And I mean, me and Andrew already know where this is gonna go for everybody here, especially Will. Hey, Will, we love you. Throw him under the bus. No, I'm just kidding. Do I wish that we had more of a story to this match? Absolutely, because stories in wrestling matter. Do I necessarily care in this condition? Hell no, because Mike Santana and Jake Something are about to murder each other, and it's going to be great. I love Jake. I really, really do. Me and Will love him on a whole different molecular level than some other folks. He is fantastic in the ring. However, I have to portray my heart in this one. I'm giving this one to Mike Santana. I think Mike needs, I don't want to say needs because that sounds bad. I think Mike winning puts him in a good position to do whatever comes after Slammiversary and for the rest of 2024, whether he wants to go after the TNA World Championship, the X Division Championship, the Digital Media Championship. And I think a win over Jake would definitely shoot him up in the ranks because Jake is no slouch. As much as I want my boy Jake Something to do something awesome, I'm going with Mike Santana in this one. I can't get bet against my Puerto Rican brother, man. So I'm going with Mike on this one.
Yeah, I agree too. Mike Santana was brought in to be a champion in TNA. Like you, I also really want Jake to also be a champion. I think he deserves it. But I think in this situation, it's got to be Mike Santana. I think him being taken out of the world title picture was in order to keep him from not winning in that and not being one of the people that loses in that match. So putting him in this gets him a chance to be on Slammiversary, pick up a victory, and make him a potential challenger for the new champion. And yes, I said new. We'll get into that pick later. But I also, while the build-up to this match wasn't super extensive, we've also seen often that the match itself could be what starts and leads into something more, whether it's other people getting involved, the way the match goes and how it ends, and what the winner does following the match could be the beginning of something as opposed to the culmination of something.
Absolutely. So Will has dissented and defected from me and you, Andrew, because he's gone with Jake Something. Are we shocked? No. But we understand. Will, don't take that as a bad thing. I was like, let's be real. Jake is a specimen of a human being, and I will leave it at that. So we move on from this match and we get into, all right, I'm gonna be straight up honest. Like, this is my least favorite match that we're getting on this card. I don't necessarily care. The reason we're getting this is because JDC allegedly, because we don't have any video proof or anything, allegedly attacked Rebby at the Go Home show for TNA. So Matt Hardy needs to defend his wife's honor and beat up JDC. So, Andrew, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Who do you have?
All right. I mean, I went with Matt Hardy. I feel like they brought in Matt Hardy to be, a big name in TNA, and he has not been the most successful since coming into TNA and facing off against someone like JDC. I think that's someone that he can get a victory over, unless there's shenanigans and stuff like that. I think that, especially because Matt Hardy's also coming in this fighting because his brother got taken out, his wife got hurt. It's just kind of like he's fighting for his family's honor. He's Matt Hardy. This match, though, I think it could have been much more interesting had this been a continuation of the Santana JDC thing. But all in all, for as wacky as JDC has been in the past, as the characters he's played and all that stuff, he's a phenomenal wrestler. And I think with Matt's experience and his experience, they can make this a really entertaining match, along with all of the other craziness that might happen because of the involvement between the Hardys and the system.
And I agree with you to that extent. Will has also picked Matt Hardy to win. I think some shenanigans are about to go down, so I picked JDC to win. I was just like, somebody needs to get heel heat this. Yeah, somebody has to get heel heat for this match. So I'm picking JDC to win.
JDC is going to win. He's going to be the only member of the system that wins, and then he's going to overthrow Moose and form a new system. No, I'm just kidding.
I agree. So I'm gonna bring this comment up. So shout out to the sport entertainment guy here. This is the revenge match between JDC, who's the one attacking Rebecca and Jeff. Now it's time that Broken Matt Hardy need to delete the system. And actually, that's actually not a bad way to start with JDC and then work your way through the rest of the system. I'm kind of here for that. I still think this is still my least favorite match, but you know what? If Matt Hardy wins, I'm not gonna be mad. I honestly can't, but I think some shenanigans is gonna go down. So I have dissented here. I just need to take this moment. You know, I don't know if it's because we're getting this on a TNA pay-per-view, and maybe my rose-colored glasses make me feel more excited about this than if it was happening in NXT, which I also love. But we are getting an NXT TNA crossover match of sorts here because we have the entirety, minus one Myron Reed, of the Rascals of the original trio, Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, and NXT's Wesley, taking on NXT's No Quarter Catch crew being represented by Charlie Dempsey, Miles Bourne, and Tavion Heights. Low key, this actually might be a banger and might steal the night because we know all 6 of these performers very well. I'm excited to see Miles be able to be given more spotlight in this match, especially since, you know, learning about how he became a wrestler despite him being deaf has been a real fun story to watch. And to him get this opportunity is awesome. And I'm also excited to see you Tavion, because this is Tavion's really first big step into the limelight. You know, now that Damon Kemp is no longer with NXT and WWE. I'm giving praises to No Quarter Catch Crew, but let's be all the way 100. I have the Rascals winning this one. You can't be recruiting Wesley to have the trio lose like this. And I feel that the Rascals with Trey and Zach have already lost enough within the last couple months. I feel they're due a victory. So I'm picking the Rascals to win, but I think this is going to be a stealer. I think this is going to might steal the show if everybody does crazy things.
Yeah, I think this has the potential to be up there with the X Division title match and the main event as being match of the night. The things that I think we're going to see them do are going to be so entertaining. But I agree. I think the Rascals are going to come out of this with a win. You know, they picked up a victory on NXT as a trios. And I think we're just seeing the build of this. It makes sense of the team that we're going to be pulling for. It is crazy to see that 4 of the 6 people in this match are NXT wrestlers. I can only say so much to balance out the excitement that Will is going to have getting to watch Charlie Dempsey on his screen for a good chunk of time.
Oh my gosh.
We'll find a way to get
this fan of Charlie. Yep.
We'll find a way to get this image of Charlie Dempsey blown up on his shirt for Will. So, but
I love it.
But yeah, no, this match is going to be so much fun. And it's a great, this is one of those examples of where I'm super excited for all 6 of these people because it's a chance for them to come out and shine. And I feel like this is a different No Quarter Catch crew than we get to see in NXT. And obviously getting to see all the trios of the Rascals at least together. It's phenomenal for everyone involved.
It is. Will also has the Rascals, so we are united in this decision, and we go on. Okay, this one's gonna be tough for me. So now, because technically AJ Francis beat Rhino, he will be defending both the Digital Media Championship and the International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship against PCO at Slammiversary. So, this one can go 50-50. Honestly, it can go 50-50 for me. But I got to go with my heart with this because I believe in love. And I think Steph might actually get involved in this match because Rich Homie Swan is going to be there. And we need an equalizer in Steph. Me and Will have gone with our hearts. We've picked PCO. Honestly. So I've gone with PCO. I just want this man to have a title. He has been doing great things. He was the first to re-sign with TNA once it rebranded itself. Like, I want good things for our French-Canadian Frankenstein. But I also know why, because Andrew's probably going to speak on it. I know why AJ Francis might also win, but damn it, I want PCO to win so bad because of how much I hate AJ Francis. The character, not the person, because the person's really cool. I like him as a person. I just hate his character, but he's doing his job. I went with PCO on this one. Andrew, tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, I went with AJ Francis. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love for PCO to get a title, especially to be able to win both those titles, because I think holding the international title would just be a fun, like, notoriety thing for him, especially like being a Canadian title, him being Canadian, all that kind of stuff. Him winning the digital media title means he gets to win a TNA championship, and he does. The fact that this man is still walking after every week we see him out there is insane. So I think it would be awesome for him to get to hold these titles, even if he's just sporting the two titles for a little while. Cool. Um, but I don't think so. I think AJ Francis is going to come out of the victory with this. I do think that we will see Steph get involved. Though there is a part of me that wonders how strong love actually is, and if we're going to actually see this love story continue with Steph and PCO. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to see some shenanigans with Rich Swann, with Steph Delander. But ultimately, I think AJ Francis is going to come out the champion with this, because I think they're going to continue on with the AJ Francis first class stuff. Um, yeah, I had to go with AJ Francis.
You're probably right, but honestly, I still think this is going to be a really fun match. I hope
Mhm.
Steph interferes in some capacity. I want her to make her return because we love Steph in this household. She's been great.
Yep.
Alrighty, so now we get into our big three matches. At least to me, these are the big three matches for Slammiversary. I need a moment to take this in because, dear wrestling gods, I want to thank you on this day. That is the Friday of July 19th. And I would like to give you praise for giving me the best match of Slammiversary in my head, even though we have yet to see this match. But you cannot see these two and not get excited, Andrew. Like, come on now. Like, holy crap. Honestly, for me, this is going to be a barn burner. I'm very interested to hear your reasoning because I'm taking a look at these picks. Me and Will have gone with Speedball, Mike Bailey. I think this is the time for Speedball to finally get another championship because of the fact that we talked about this for weeks. How do you have this man be like your top X Division star and be one half responsible for the last 2 years of having TNA's best match of the year? 2022 was him versus Josh in that 1 hour banger, and 2023 also went to Speedball in his match against Will Ospreay at Bound for Glory. I picked Speedball. Will has picked Speedball. Andrew has dissented and picked Ali. I need you to present your case and tell me why you did so. But I am
Um,
excited though.
I think this match is going to be phenomenal. The things that both of these people can do is insane, and the way they work with every opponent that they have is incredible. Um, Up until recently, I thought Mike Bailey was going to win this. Unfortunately, I've seen posts of what's coming up following Slammiversary, and it has me questioning what's going to happen, because it's already been announced Ali's next match that's going to happen after Slammiversary, and it's against somebody with some pretty strong name recognition, and it has me wondering if they're pivoting with that person and taking them out of the world title picture because they have been less than successful there. And it's a person who fits very well into the X division and also makes sense to be the person that dethrones Ali for that X division title. If I'm being honest, I want Bailey to win. I want to be wrong on this. I want Bailey to win. I want them to go on and have an awesome X Division title reign and be one of the main champions in TNA, and really just like really build a solid championship reign for Bailey. And I think beating Ali would be a huge way to cap that off. That being said, history and with what I've seen coming up in the future, leads me to believe that tomorrow night might not be that night for Bailey.
I know. honestly, like, again, this is a match where whoever walks out the winner, like, I will be completely 100% happy because Speedball Mike Bailey, I think, has done amazing things with TNA, and to reward him with the championship run would be fantastic. But you gotta admit, and we've talked about this on multiple occasions, you know, coming from a bigger company, Ali didn't get the recognition and the flowers I think he deserved, especially when he was one of the cornerstones of 205 Live, because that division was on and popping. And then Stupidity got the hold of it and destroyed it, which made me very upset. But I would also love to see Ali run for it, and I think he has done such a great job. Honestly, Ali is probably my favorite wrestler of 2024 so far, just of how much he has kind of proven all the naysayers wrong since being released from WWE, and just taken the independent scene like by storm with this whole gimmick and character. I think this match is going to slap. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, so you heard me talk about how much I haven't enjoyed this build, but semi-main event time. And see, this one's also hard for me because I love me some Jordan. But I got to know Ash on a deeper level when I got to interview her at New Jersey Wrestle Show. Go check out that interview. She's fantastic. We literally manifested this when I interviewed her back in May, because we talked about, what does it look like? She has beaten Rosemary. She's beaten Havoc. She's took out a couple other women. And, her and Jordan have been kind of eyeing each other for the last 6 months. And Andrew, full steam ahead, because we finally reached the pinnacle of this 6-long month stare down between these two. For the TNA Knockouts World Championship, Jordan Grace will be defending her title against the challenger, Ash, by Elegance. Ash, if you see this, you're my queen, and I can never bet against you. So that is why I pick you to win. But it hurts me to say this because I love Jordan too. I really, really do. I'm going to be happy, but I'm also going to be very, very sad because one of my favorites is not walking out here a winner, and it makes me mad and sad that I can't have both of them win. But I have picked Ash by Elegance, and so has Will. Andrew, who have you picked and why?
I went with Jordan Grace. This was another similar one that for a while I was going to go for Ash by Elegance, but I think Jordan Grace is such a big part of this crossover with NXT right now. I think there's a lot of things that they would like to do with her, and I think in that regard, both companies want to keep her looking strong. So I could see a case where she loses in a way that makes her look strong, because I would also love to see actual feuds happen. Like, let us have a couple of championship matches between Jordan and Ash where the title maybe goes back and forth. I'm okay with that. But I think with the things that they want to do with this kind of, union between the two companies, I feel like Jordan is going to win this. I also can see how Jordan picking up a win over Ash adds another bigger TNA name to her roster of, people she's defeated. And with the fact that Rosemary is involved, I could also see that Rosemary getting involved could cost Ash the match, which could then in turn set up a future rematch between Ash and Jordan at a point when maybe that's when Jordan would drop the title to Ash.
I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Ash by Elegance. I disagree. I think people are being haters. Again, I'm biased because, Ash is an amazing person. But in all seriousness, she is a sweet individual, and I want good things for Ash. And I would love to see Ash pick up the victory here. But again, it's one of those situations I will be happy and sad either way because these are my homegirls. I love both of them. So before I start crying, let's get into the next thing. We get into our main event. I need a moment.
What?
This is definitely our main event. Woo! Holy crap. Literally, this is the poster of your biggest, male of the faces of your TNA's male roster. But For the TNA World Championship, this is a 6-way elimination match. All 6 men will be in the ring at the same time, and it is literally survival of the fittest. The winner will be last person standing, and Moose will be defending his title against probably the heaviest hitters that TNA has got right now, maybe minus 1 or 2 folks, but Moose will be defending his title against Josh Alexander, Frankie Kazarian, Nick Nemeth, Steve Macklin, and my number 1 front runner for this match, Joe Hendry. So, on our prediction sheet, we were allowed to pick 2. Will and Andrew only thought they needed 1 only, but we all pretty much picked 1 person. We've all picked Joe Hendry to win, but my second pick is Josh Alexander. It's either Josh or Joe winning this. I want Joe to win so bad, Andrew, and you know how bad I want Joe to win, especially after he cut his promo after beating Jake for the spot in this match a couple weeks ago. Either way, I think this is going to probably be in my top 3 of best matches of 2024, like hands down, honestly. Look at all this talent in the ring. But I got Joe or Josh winning, and I'm pulling for Joe to win this so bad.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually missed the select 2 winners, please thing. So I would have gone with Josh Alexander as my second pick because, like I said in our review, I think we got an example of who's going to get eliminated when. I think everyone is going to get eliminated in the order that we saw them leave the ring during the contract signing. Meaning, I think Moose will get eliminated. He'll be the top 3, but won't make it out of that. And I think we'll see Josh Alexander standing against Joe Hendry. I feel like if Josh wins, it's because he goes heel and he turns on Joe. Maybe he attacks Joe right after Joe has finished off Moose and does it in a heelish way to pick up the victory and have a title reign as a heel champion, which then gives him obviously a great feud there with Joe Hendry, which I think could be phenomenal. But I think, I hope, I want Joe Hendry. I believe that Joe Hendry is going to win this match because I think no matter what, having him win is such a good choice right now because he is so over, and he is over in TNA, he's over in NXT, he is over on the internet. It's just such a good time to capitalize on him being a huge people's champion. And the fact that the dude called out John Cena for when he wins the TNA world title, like, there's just so many moments to capitalize on right now with Joe Hendry winning this world title that would be good for him and would be good for TNA. And I think you can still have a feud between him and Josh Alexander, especially because I think Moose is going to be busy dealing with the, downfall and possible deletion of the system. And I think Ryan Nemeth has another title that he's going to be wrestling for and probably winning. So I think we're going to see a whole new batch of champions coming up in the next couple of days to week, depending on when things get aired. But my number 1 pick for this match is Joe Hendry.
Man, I want Joe to win so bad. Seriously. So, in that whole stream of conscious, so Andrew, your reasoning, again, the homie right here. Oh my lord, you were really right on my Andrew. But also for this one too, he believes in Joe Hendry. He wants to see Joe Hendry win, and we all want to see Joe Hendry win. But Andrew, that brings us to the end of our predictions for Slammiversary, which means that brings us to the end of this week's TNA review. Despite ROH not necessarily giving me what I want right now, because normally they're pretty good, TNA never disappoints, and we have one hell of a Saturday evening together tomorrow, and I'm so excited for the trio to be watching this. And That's not including because Jordan Grace has dropped hints all this week that there's going to be more NXT and WWE crossovers happening. Like the world is about to collide. And also, I kind of want that Worlds Collide event between TNA and NXT. Hopefully, that's the thing. Give me an invasion angle. That'd be hilariously, and I'm here for it. But that is going to be it for this week. Thank you for joining us for a very long episode of the Takedown Troupe. Normally, it doesn't go this long, but we got it. We got our predictions video in, which will go up on the YouTube channel separately. So if you just want to hear the predictions video, it will just be there. It's going to be fantastic. But me and Andrew got to get up on out of here because we got to talk about how amazing Slammiversary is going to be tomorrow and what the logistics of that looks like. But a little bit of housekeeping before we sign off for the evening. There will be no TNA review next Friday, and that is because despite us talking numerous amounts of trash on ROH, Andrew and I will be watching the ROH Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, which airs next Friday, which unfortunately means it is not fair for Will to cover TNA by himself. So that is why there will be no TNA next week. But do not fret. You may be wondering, no, how come you're not doing TNA? Do not worry, because tomorrow we will be watching Slammiversary together as a trio, and then Sunday evening we will be doing the review for Slammiversary, and this will be the first pay-per-view for TNA in a long time that the trio will be together, because it has been lots of busyness, but I'm super excited. But that is going to be it for us this week on the Takedown Troupe. So for myself, Andrew, Will, and the rest of the BC WrestlePod boys, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay biconic, and as always, and most importantly, you deserve to finish your story. We will catch you Sunday for the review of Slammiversary. But until then, sayonara, adios, take care, and say his name, and he'll appear, because we believe in Joe Hendry. We will see you Sunday. Bye.